Hi, this is Donna Carroll. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? It is October 4th, 2020, and the weather's starting to turn here. So I thought that today I might channel the Lemurian Mother Goddess. I had a fun weekend. Basically, my neighbor who talked me into being a foster mom for a kitten went on a trip. She went on a trip for 3 days and asked if I could babysit her 4 foster kittens. So I said, sure. So they came over and they tore the place up. And it was a lot of fun. And they are super sweet. And my friend is having a really hard time because she's very attached to the kittens. She's raised them since they were days old. And she's going to be giving them up and she doesn't want to. So it's just really hard. She's very young, 24, and it's hard. I understand that. Hey, Angelique, how are you? Good evening. And then, of course, I have my foster kitten, and his name is Atticus, pure black cat that I've had since he was 10 days old, and now he is over 4 weeks old. However, I went down to the shelter last week because he seemed to be sick. He had a bloated tummy. So I decided to get it checked out. And I took him down to the shelter and they said, yes, he has a hard and bloated stomach. And we're going to take an x-ray to see if there's an obstruction. And of course I started flipping out thinking he had an obstruction, but he didn't. Just had gas in the stomach, but when they brought him back, they said, he's a she. It's a girl. I was like, oh, I guess I didn't check closely enough, which is probably true. So just air in the stomach, but he turned into a she. And I thought, oh, that makes sense because he did cry a lot. So I'm looking for a new name for my black kitten. And she's a pistol, very independent, very feisty. And so if anybody has any ideas, please type them in the chat because I really could use some help on this. I've heard Samantha, Betty, Sabrina, and a bunch of other names. But I came up with Agatha, which is, I guess that's not very nice, but she's a pistol. So Luna, I've heard Luna. If anyone has a name, please let me know because I just can't decide. It's really hard. So today, yes, I am channeling the Lemurian Mother Goddess. But before we get into the channeling, I just want to say, we are ascending, obviously. And what I've been dealing with in the last, I don't know, couple months is I have been dealing with, and I'm not complaining, but I'm sure this is all coming up to be cleared, but I have been dealing with people that are just being very irresponsible, even lying in business situations. So I had hired a web developer and paid him in advance like over a year ago, and he was supposed to take care of my website. Well, he just took off mid work and left me high and dry. And then I recently in August hired another one, and he's local in Albuquerque, and I said, can you start September 10th? And I talked to him a month earlier because I was going to go on a trip to and I didn't want to be working on the website when I was traveling. Anyhow, he's like, sure, I can start September 10th. Well, he did less than 2 hours of work, and then he just didn't do anything for the last 3 weeks. And I'm like, this needs to get done. And I just ended up firing him through the website company because, he lied to me. He said he was going to be working on it 2 weekends ago, la-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I just was like, I can't deal with this. I'll just pay him the 2 hours and find somebody else. So now I'm over 3 weeks behind. And I've been dealing with companies like Comcast that are lying to me and overcharging me. And I signed a contract with a national chain, and this company canceled 2 of my appointments. I just don't know what's going on with businesses these days. They don't seem to be, the ones that I'm dealing with seem to be very unreliable and not trustworthy. And so I'm thinking, well, I guess this is something that's coming up to be cleared in me. I don't know, but it seems likely. So I have been on the phone, fighting. I know you know what that's like, fighting businesses. That's such a drag. And especially with these big companies that do everything automatically, and then talking to the reps that don't really know anything. It's very frustrating. So today I'm trying to null and void my contract with one of these companies, and they want to charge me about twice as much money as they should. So, it's predatory lending. So I'm going to just probably let my credit card company decide, because I just don't really want to deal with this stuff anymore. And as far as the website, I asked my friend in my meditation group who used to be a techie to help me find someone. I figure if I ask a meditator, I'll get someone that's reliable and trustworthy. So instead of someone I don't know. And, I don't want to pay $100 an hour for a professional firm to do my little website. Be exorbitantly expensive. I really just want to hire an individual. So anyhow, I'm going through all this business stuff, and I'm hoping to heal this, whatever it is, so I don't have to keep dealing with it in the future. But I know you know what that's like, and I don't want to belabor the point, but I'm going to ask the Lemurian Mother Goddess for some help in this area, because I need it. So anyhow, my cat is adorable. She's a pistol. And again, if you have any names, please let me know. And she's my foster kitten, but I am going to adopt her. Oh, thanks, the Better Business Bureau. That's a great idea, Jewel. Thank you. Yeah, I normally don't feel like I have a lot of issues with businesses, but in the last, 3 to 4 months, I've just everywhere I've turned, it's been an ordeal. So anyhow, so I hope you guys are faring better in that arena. And as far as what's going on nationally, I don't pay attention to the news. I don't really get into that too much, because I feel like a lot of the news is fake, and I feel like whatever's being presented to us, it's an act, and it's being orchestrated from somewhere else. And if it's being orchestrated by somewhere else, you can bet your bottom dollar that those people answer to others in the spirit world. So I don't get really involved in that stuff too much. A lot of people do, but it's because I really don't believe the news, to be honest with you. So I don't even attach to it. Anyhow, so today what I thought I would do is bring in the Lemurian Mother Goddess, because I could use some motherly energy and some caring energy, and I'm sure you could too, and to help us raise our frequency. And from my perspective, she has the highest frequency of all, comparable to the Buddha or Yeshua. And when I bring in her energy, it always makes me feel better, and I'm hoping it will make you feel better. So if you have an intention, something that you want to heal, something that's bothering you, please think about that right now before we go into the channeling, and I'm going to ask her assistance in removing this from our fields. Addie, that's cute. How about the name Addie? That's cute. Yeah. Yeah, I thought Agatha. Then I would call her Aggie because she's a black kitten. And from my perspective, uh, well, I'll just tell you, I went to an animal communicator, and the animal communicator told me that my kitten has never been on Earth before, and my kitten has never been a cat before. So this spirit came in to be my cat um, as a newbie. And so I said, well, is it an angel or where's this spirit from? And she's like, it's an other. But long story short is this spirit comes from the dark side, and it is a black kitten. And this spirit is coming in from the dark side because it has decided that it wants to go to the light, and it wants to be in the light, and it wants to be with me, and it wants to help me. It's like a little wizard cat. um, that it's tired of being in the dark. And we have exorcised demons together on the astral plane. And I don't know her exact story in the background. She is very loving. She's very feisty. But we are here to assist each other. She's going to teach me some things. We're going to work together, and I'm here to show her some things. And I'm here to show her love. And so I guess we made this contract to work together, but I'm always up for rehoming, rehabbing, and bringing dark entities to the light. And I've done that quite a bit, you know, since I started meditating on the astral planes, because many of them left many, many, many years ago. You could say thousands, millions of years ago, and they have been in turmoil. They have been in despair. They have been frightened, and they have been in very bad situations that they have brought upon themselves. I'm not excusing them for their actions. However, you can't really have an ideal world or an ideal universe if there's going to be duality. So I am a proponent of forgiving Luciferians, demons, dark entities, rehabbing them and bringing them into the light. And so I've done this work a little bit on the astral, and so now she's working with me in the physical, and she is a powerful animal. I'll just be honest with you. She's a powerhouse. And so I'm very grateful to have her in my life, and I'm hoping that she can teach me a lot of things, and I'm hoping to bring her, help her get to the highest frequency of light that's possible. And as far as the karma goes, I leave that up to the ones up there, you know. So also, before this cat came to me, I went to an animal communicator about 2 weeks ago. And before this kitten came to me, my neighbor kept pestering me to foster every day. And I'm like, oh my God, why? And I said, fine, I'll foster, you know. And it's because this cat needed to come to me. And it was abandoned at the age of 3 days old with the umbilical cord attached to its navel. And went to a foster for a week, didn't work out, went back to the shelter, and then it came to me. And anyhow, about 6 weeks ago, I had a visitation from a black leopard. Came to me in the middle of the night, just walked right up to me, and I was like, whoa, what is this leopard? And I had watched a video on Diablo, and it's a really good video. It's about a black leopard that was abused, and then it got rehomed and went to a sanctuary, and an animal communicator dealt with this black leopard because it was acting out, and it was very aggressive because it was in a lot of fear. And she found out his life story. So I had watched that video, so I assumed that the visitation was from that animal named Diablo, then named Spirit. But the animal communicator said, no, it was not Spirit that visited me. It was actually my first cat that I ever owned, Foggy. And Foggy was little gray Tabby, and she was a hellion. I mean, she was anxious and aggressive and not a nice cat, really. But I had her 14 years. I do not believe in rehoming animals or giving away animals. If I commit to an animal, it is for life. So the animal communicator told me that Foggy took on a life as a black panther after she passed, which was a long time ago, because she passed when I was 31, and that she took on a life as a black cat panther on Earth, and then so she could learn to be brave and learn courage, because she had a lot of fear when she was with me. And so when she came back to heaven, when she crossed over, she became a black panther, and she kept that form. And so she was coming to offer me support and courage and strength for some things that I was going through. So that was helpful, because I was like, where is this cat coming from? So that was really sweet. So all my cats are helping me on the other side. And I did have a white cat, a cream point ragdoll with blue eyes, that died in 2017. And the animal communicator told me that Nova, my white cat, brought the new cat to me. So they're all working behind the scenes and helping me and working with each other. So that's really cool. But I digress. So let's do the channeling, and then we can get some good energy. If you have your selenite, please hold on to it. But understand that cats are very powerful animals. There's a reason why the Egyptians worshipped cats, even the common house cat. There's a reason why witches are associated with cats. They're huge energy antennas, so they can bring in spirits, they can bring in energy. They're like radio relay beings, and they're very, I don't know exactly how it works, but if you want to connect to another time and place in this multiverse, sometimes it's very beneficial to have a cat around. So they're good that way. That's what they're used for. They're powerful. Anyhow, and this little one, she's we do love each other, and I think we're going to have a long and happy life together. So please get your selenite. I'm going to close my eyes and call in the Mother Goddess, and do some channeling. At this time, I would like to call in my highest and best healing and channeling guides. I would like to call in the archangels, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Ariel. Ariel is the angel that oversees the earth, plants, and animals, and those kingdoms upon the earth, just so you know. Also invoking Archangel Gabriel. Thank you for being here. We love you and appreciate you. I invoke 100,000 warrior protection angels around myself and everyone watching this video now in the future. I ask the angels to protect everybody and to help if anyone releases a negative thought form, energy, or even an entity. I ask these angels to take it to source and transmute it into light. Lastly, I invoke the Lemurian Mother Goddess. I ask her to please come in and please give us a message for these times that are trying for many of us. Please help us understand why we go through the things that we do. And we ask for your love and we ask for your guidance. Amen. Yes, this is the Lemurian Mother Goddess, and I am exceedingly pleased and happy and grateful to be with you here today and tonight. Yes, we do know that these are stressful times for humans in many different areas. As the saying goes, Everything has been shaken up. It is true that the life forms on Earth, in a sense, have been shaken up. Even Mother Gaia herself has been shaken up. And you can see the results of this action in the outer world with the ramifications of that shaking, meaning volcanoes, floods, earthquakes, fires, all of these things that Mother Earth is experiencing, although we will tell you very concretely that not all of these things are natural or produced from the Earth herself. Some of these things are man-made or placed upon your planet to cause harm by forces that are dark and anti-life. However, there is a great shaking going on, and this is so that the hardened sanskaras that life forms on Earth, including humans, that they carry can be released. Some of the impressions or sanskaras, which is just a fancy word for hardened impressions, that humans carry have been in their psyches, their minds, their hearts, and their souls for many, many lifetimes. And when an impression is formed, let's say you go to the doctor and you have a fear of needles because you went to the doctor and they poked you in your vein and you had a painful reaction. This is an impression. You remember that. And when you go to the doctor the next time and have to get an injection, there's fear. And whether or not you have a negative experience, that fear comes up. Doing this enough times, it becomes a sanskara or a hardened impression. So people that have prejudices against other types of people, types meaning races, religions, ethnic groups, people that have a distaste for certain types of animals or plants. And it doesn't have to be negative. If you, for instance, love ice cream, it could be that you have had many, many times or impressions of eating ice cream that brought you much pleasure and positivity. When those impressions are done over and over again, an individual impression done many times becomes a sanskara or a hardened impression. Now, when you have many hardened impressions, you've eaten ice cream many different lifetimes, maybe you even became an ice cream producer, a connoisseur of sorts, then that love of ice cream and the eating of ice cream would become a habit. And this is why people don't easily change, because many people here have had many lifetimes. And if they do not counteract the impressions that they accrue, then they become sanskaras and habits. And what happens is that gets carried over from one lifetime to a next lifetime. So this is why musical prodigies can be seen at the age of 2 and 3, these wizards that play the piano, because they've had many lifetimes playing the piano and they came in with this skill. So this is a long way of saying that the earth, because people have so many habits, hardened sanskaras, that there is a shaking going on in the population, in the earth, so that these hardened impressions, these habits, can be released, both good and bad, so that people can start ascending more easily. Some of these impressions get stuck in the energetic body. some of these impressions are connected to other impressions in the body. When one's released, for instance, you could say it would be opening a can of worms. If someone has the tendency to steal or a tendency for criminal behavior, this most likely comes in from a last or previous lifetimes. And so when that person goes to therapy in this lifetime, perhaps they're in rehab, perhaps they go to prison to correct this behavior, then the associated sanskaras start to get released as well. And that could be begging. Begging and stealing oftentimes go together. It could be lying. So what's happening is the world is shaking, and negative and positive habits are starting to get released. And as these impressions get released, then the deeper, harder, more concrete impressions start to come up. So this is one way of looking at what is happening in your world right now and why so many have been filled with a type of hatred or rage that many have not seen before. This is because they are being shaken to release the negativity within themselves to give them the best shot at ascending. So we in the spiritual realms and the higher realms of consciousness, first of all, I am the Lemurian mother goddess. I was in Lemuria, and I brought in the codes for that civilization. And those codes are coming back. However, there are many councils of light that I consult, and on many councils of light, because I need to understand the perspectives of all the star seeds that came in ancient Lemuria. And also I need to understand the the Lemurians. They impacted many on the planet who were not Lemurian in ancient days, and I need to understand the perspectives of those individuals who lived at that time. So I never really act alone. I always have consultation, and I always deliberate my decisions. But ultimately, I am the final decider, because what's happening now is the Lemurian energies are coming back. And the skills, talents, the telepathy, the healing abilities, all of it is intended to come back. Because not only do I listen to those who have been on Earth and suffered much under the dark occultish regimes, I also listen to the star seeds, the Lemurians, and the other ones who have incarnated on Earth to help the humans. And frankly, many of them want to return to the light. They feel like their time, their duty, their sacrifice is enough, and they want to go home. And I understand that very, very well, because although I lived in ancient Lemuria, I have incarnated on the earth many, many times since that great epic, that golden age, in many, many mundane and even difficult circumstances. And I did this both as a woman and a man so that I could gain greater understanding of the human experience. And the human experience is not an easy one. So I understand that the star brethren want to return home, or at least go on a vacation, because they have done so much work here over a very long time. So I want you to understand that the shaking going on is a healing, because these hardened impressions, these habits, must be released for all to ascend. Not that all will ascend, but to have a shot at ascending and getting to the fifth dimension and higher, you can't hold on to the negativity of the third dimension. So whatever your main samskara is for the channel, it's dealing with people that are taking advantage of her financially, possibly cheating her, not treating her with respect. All of these things are coming into play so that she can heal it, so she can clear this from her field, so she does not have to deal with these scenarios again. It will be different for everybody. So understand that all is a learning and healing process, and you are on an upward trajectory. Nothing is going to take you down into the mire again. Yes, it's not an easy ride. It's not an easy trip, but you are strong and you are courageous and you can do it. That's why you're here. Only the most proven starseeds, light workers, warriors of the light, are here at this time to deal with the opposing ascension energies. And although we cannot do your job for you, we want you to understand that you are loved and you are supported, and we have great faith and trust in your abilities, or else you would not be here at this time. We wanted to say this. I wanted to say this, the Lemurian Mother Goddess and my Council of Light, including the angels who incarnated with me initially when I came down in ancient Lemuria. So I know that many are going through some things, but as the old saying goes, this too shall pass. But I would like you to take a moment to think about what is stressing you, what is bothering you, or what seems to be a habitual problem in your reality. Think about that. And I am going to use the channel so that we can try to dissolve this tendency within your field and help you to overcome it. Know that many have overcome great suffering in this reality. Ultimately, you are immortal, and even though you pass from one physical form to another, your soul will never die, and your soul is as bright and beautiful and glorious as the day your soul was born. So hold on to that thought, because these bodies, these physical bodies, are temporary. And honestly, through the ascension process, after it is all said and done, you will receive a new body, looking like, most likely, like this body, but one that is healed and perfect in its expression. So do not despair. Just keep doing what you're doing, the good works, the light and the love, being the light and the love that you are. Know that we watch you and we appreciate you and we love you. So we'll do an exercise to reduce or eliminate the tendency that you're creating or that you have brought into your field to release. So think about this and take a moment. And when you have that idea, just place it in your third eye, in your brain, and think about what's causing you problems at this present moment. Now take that idea and place it in your heart. Very good. And now I ask you to invoke your highest and best healing guides. And we ask that you think about this energy that you would no longer want in your field, and imagine a little seed of thought, a little debris in your heart, and which represents this habit, sanskara, or even impression. And then I ask you to invoke the Lemurian Mother Goddess and the resources at her hands. And we ask that in this debris, which I'm sure is negative in your world, we ask that you bring me in. Very good. And now we ask that this debris that you no longer need in your reality become infused with the light of Source. Bring in that Source energy in your heart. And now we call in your highest and best healing guides, which actually will be different for many of you, to go inside that debris. And as more and more light is brought and shined on this subject, we ask that your guides eliminate it, dissolve it, and release it, taking it to Source. So bringing in tons and tons of light on this old issue, which you have carried for many lifetimes. Now, using your thought forms and your feelings, just release this tendency that you no longer want and just give it up to the light, and your guides will take it to Source. Breathe it out using the breath. Okay, and in the place where you had the pocket, the seed, that is no longer there, but just a shell, the actual impression is gone. We ask that you bring in as much light from Source as possible and just breathe it in. Okay, and now we ask your highest and best cleansing guides to go in your aura and remove any debris, any outside influences, any type of low frequency energy that you have accumulated or contracted in this arena we call Earth. And we ask the guides to leave it, to remove it, and send it to Source. And you can use your breath as the angelic guides are working to clean your light field and your aura, to help raise your frequency so that you can shine much more brightly. And just release, 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 release. Use your breath to release energy from the body and the subtle bodies. And of course, hold your selenite to make this operation faster and easier. We are still working, so please have patience with us. We want to clean you as well as we can in a safe and effective manner. Very good. One last note is that we would add that a spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, invoking your guides for help, would help you to release these tendencies that you carry within your body more easily so that there is less shaking and baking upon the earth. So do some self-care, and if you're feeling triggered, charged, upset, whatever the cause, instead of getting into a situation where you're fighting back or where you're starting to get agitated, we ask that you bring us in, hand the issue over to us, ask for our help, and let us dissolve the negativity in your world. So that is all I wanted to convey. We appreciate your work. We appreciate your efforts. But most of all, we appreciate you as the soul that you are, truly divine, truly unique, special, and we want to tell you that you are loved. So with that message, I want to say goodbye. I want to tell you that you can reach me, call on me, invoke me anytime. I will be there at a moment's notice. We love you. Namaste. Amen. And now the channel comes back. Great. So this is Donna Carroll, and I want to thank you for being here and listening to the Lemurian Mother Goddess. And I hope that that cleanse helped you and the message helped you. So have a great week, and please take care of yourselves. Amen.